What up, YouTube? You can't stop trading and investing with your boy James E. Tuesday, gotta go over my overnight plays. Overnight play on LTNC. Overnight play on, I don't even remember. Oh, AITX, just remembered. I want to go over that, and then sticking to the plan, man. Sticking to what works for me. Overnight plays and dip buy, morning dip buys, but just pretty much did all overnight plays today. And then the one I got into later on in the day, DSCR. I want to get into all that. But before I do, man, please click that like button. Please subscribe. It is very much appreciated. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy that likes to research and analyze anything I find interesting in the stock market. And I like to share that with anybody willing to listen. So let's do this. Actually, I want to get into LTNC first. Let's do that one first. So as you can see right here, LTNC. In this one, overnighted it. Boom. As you can see right here, closed right here in the 525s, gapped up to the 53s. Took a really small position. I bought, I purchased 200,000 shares. Did I? Maybe I bought this shit twice. I could have swore I had a... Oh, yeah, that's right. I was thinking I had 100,000 shares, but that was on AITX in the other account. You bought 200,000 shares, very small position for me overnight, and sold it into this small gap up, closed here, opened up here, and it executed me nicely, and winded up with almost a $200 profit, 196.92. Just doing the same similar thing I always do, because when you get into the daily of LTNC, even when it's red, this thing has a tendency to gap up whether red or green. Just always look at the history of the chart. If you're doing an overnight play, always look at the daily chart to look at the history. How often does it gap up? Does the stock, does it even gap up? Because sometimes, there's first green days that I don't take because due to just looking at the history of the chart pattern, they may gap down, they may just open at the same, so you got to read the chart. And as you can see right here, the history of this chart, even though we do have gap down, when it's running up, and then we have our first two red days, look at red day here, close here, gapped up, close here, gapped up. So we had this nice 2-day of green, a nice bounce, gapped up and dropped. And so again, man, I seen that opportunity and collected it. It did a small little bounce, small gap up, and made a nice $200 profit off of it. Just because the odds are in my favor of the gap ups. Yes, it does have gap downs here, but the odds overall, if you look at all this in this area, you get the majority of gap ups. So I like those odds, and I took them and winded up with a small profit of a $200 profit, 196. And then I want to get into AITX. Now AITX was crazy. Okay, so this didn't necessarily gap up. It closed right here at 727, and it opened at 729. Just to look at the history again, man, just look at history. So I'm watching this run. Okay, this is coming off the news that we talked about the other day. If we get into the news catalyst, which was major U.S. airports poised to deploy robotic assistant devices, which was the news catalyst why I got into it yesterday. It made a nice profit off AITX yesterday. If you haven't watched the previous video, please go and do so. But it's this trend. So you see a pop, slight pullback, huge run. It's just a trend. Pop, pulls back, pops, pulls back, pops, consolidates, pops again. So even in this pop, this is still considered a pullback, even though it's a longer. So pop, pull back, consolidate, up. Pop, pull back. Man, I keep pop, pull back, consolidate, pop. Drop again, pop again, consolidate, pop. Drop again, pop again, and then now it died off. So when I was seeing this, man, right at the open, it tanked. Okay, now I'm holding 200,000 shares here. And holding another 100,000 shares in another account right here. And so I was holding 300,000 shares overnight and just looking at the actual chart. I'm like, dude, it's not gapping up, but I'm going to hold it because if you look at the previous day, as you can see, overnight it's printing at the pre-market, it's printing this high, but it printed right here almost 7 cents a share, but it opens down here at 6 cents, and then it pops straight up before it drops. So I was really just, again, intuition, instinct, just like I did yesterday on AITX, and just held through this drop. If I had a day trade, I would have probably bought it and dip bought it, but I didn't. I just held through the drop, and I was down like $1,400 at this point. But again, man, just my intuition and understanding the chart, understanding the news catalyst, understanding how this thing moves. I was like, dude, this is gonna pop and get close to retesting this 8 cent area. And that's exactly what happened. It topped out at the 7.9. So again, man, I was just patiently waiting, held it through this $1,400 down, and then it started grinding up, boom, and then this big candle push, and that's where I sold it at, made $440 profit on that. And then in this account, I sold it pretty much for like a $30 profit, but as it kept grinding up, as you can see, I bought back in another 100,000 shares. When I sold it like right here in the 7.3s, like just kind of like break even, made $30. And then when it popped here, I sold the other one. I said, man, I need to get back in it. So I bought back in this dip and then sold it into this push for another 90. So overall made a little over $560 on AITX. Just sticking to my intuition, man, because look at this beautiful 5-day, 5-minute chart, man. Like, oh, that's not even the right chart. Boom, up here. You know, this is just beautiful to me, man. This is beautiful, gradual pop, drop, pop, drop, pop, drop, pop. That's beautiful, man. That's what I like to see. So I was not discouraged. It was maintaining the trend here. So even though I was down 1,400, I said, dude, you don't lose unless you sell it. So I didn't sell it because like everything in me was saying, James, this is going to go and retest this 8. And I sold it a little prematurely, sold it in the 6.5s. But then bought back in an extra 100 shares to make another 90 on top of that. So that was cool. So overall, you know, like I said, a little over $560. So started off my day with over $750. Walked away, done. Didn't want to trade anything. Didn't really even have no day trades because the account that I went over the PDT rule, that NASDAQ, every time I trade that NASDAQ, I dip below the PDT. And right now, I think I'm like $100 below the PDT. So I didn't even want to risk dip buying it. I'm just going to, you know, now I'm no longer going to trade NASDAQs with it. I'm just going to trade OTCs with it until I get it, you know, up over 30 and then maybe start retesting NASDAQs with it again. But it hasn't been working, so I'm just going to stay away from it. So, you know, start off my day like that and then just shut my lab, man. And it was done for the day. And then, so, you know, I came back around 12 o'clock, started looking at my scanners, started looking at highest percent gainers, DSCR. DSCR caught my attention. Put out some news this morning. Discovery Mineral selects Alt 5 Sigma to develop its Discovery coin, so cryptocurrency related, and payment gateway. And this thing has been on a nice run, man. So if you go here and you look at the daily, boom, look at this nice gradual run, pop, drop, and now it's popping. So when I started noticing in the 5-day, 5-minute chart, because I always look at the 1-day, 1-year chart, I always look at the 5-day, 5-minute chart and the 1-day, 1-minute chart. And then sometimes I'll use the 10-day, 30-minute chart, just depending if I want to get a better idea or not. So same thing, man. It's kind of maintaining that trend like AITX. We had a pop, even back here, pop, drop, pop back up, drop, pop back up, drop, pop back up, consolidates, then drops, and then towards the end of the day, it started gearing back up. So I bought it in this candle here, bought 100,000 shares in this account, closed up $90 there. Boom. And then in this one, same thing, bought 200,000, $80 profit there. So that's 170. And then right here, bought another 200,000 here for 106. So a little over $276 profit. So overall on the day, sticking to what I normally do, the market open and the market close. You know, if I'd have stuck to that and avoided NASDAQ yesterday, I would have been green yesterday. But I did it, you know, it kind of avoided my rule a little bit. But, you know, I'm testing out new theories and, you know, potentially trying to dabble in the NASDAQ. So it's okay. But today, stuck to the plan, made a little over $1,000. And that's how it should be, man. Just recognizing, again, a news catalyst. Just like AITX yesterday, that news catalyst gave me a nice gain yesterday and today. And then DSCR, same thing, recognize the news catalyst, heavy volume. If you go here, look, we're trading almost 500 million shares, which is what I love to see, heavy volume. And then a pullback. So, I mean, if this thing would have closed strong, I might not have wanted to, but, you know, in this stock doesn't really have history of gap ups neither. But this is what I seen the last big run when it topped here and pulled back a little bit, gapped up the next day before the drop off. So that was the main ticket why I wanted to, you know, why I seen that and thought about that. And then same thing right here, even though this one didn't gap up, it gapped down slightly, but it had this run in the morning before it dropped off. So kind of anticipating either, you know, some kind of small gap up, not a big gap up, but maybe a small one. And then also the increase in volume from here to here. This had a small slight gap up, but it closed higher, closed stronger. So this one came down a little bit. So I figured if we get a nice little squeeze in the morning, I might be able to squeeze out a couple $100 or so. Same thing like this candle right here. When it dropped off, it gapped up a little bit in the morning as well. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of my analysis. If you made it this far, please click that like button. Please subscribe. You can't stop Mafia. It's a mindset movement, meaning never stop yourself, never stop your progress, never stop your education, especially in finance. Having multiple streams of income is an amazing thing, and the stock market is a place where you can do that. So AITX overnight held it through the dip because the chart pattern said so, and winded up with 560. LTNC held it overnight, sold it in the gap up for a couple $100. And then DSCR noticed a nice trend and a nice news catalyst to hold it overnight for tomorrow. Closed off my day with another $270 for a little over $1,000 profit. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.